Okay, got a Ashe replay today in a GM5 lobby. Battletag Winterfire. I'm a GM5 DPS player. I opened up a new account. Somehow got games with full lobbies of top 100 players. This game scared me IRL since I'm not used to our legends like ML7 and EQO, which is pretty cool. A shame it had to be on New Queen straight to be in a push game. You couldn't really it couldn't have turned into some overtime game where you get a lot of different scenarios, because the great things about being in lobbies like this is if you can make them competitive, you get a lot of film essentially of how you would do not only in these situations, but seeing how these players are playing the game in reaction to the same environment that you're being put into, right? Like you know what the setting was, and then it's easier to apply what they're doing to the scenario when you are directly involved in it as well. And you can see how they react to what you're doing specifically, and maybe that's something that you can implement into your game if you can figure out a way to then play around that. So it's cool. EQO obviously duoed with ML7, I would say, both on support, but we'll take a look at this. GM5, you said you were... Yeah, GM5. So we're a little underleveled, but nothing crazy, you know. If we're serious about trying to climb and trying to get to GM1, or I'm not sure what your peak is, but this is the crucible. This is the arena you got to step into and not obviously carry or anything, but hold your own and if you stand any chance of climbing. But off the bat, looking at this, looks like you're going to be doing it pretty rough. I'd say you're going to get a lot of pressure coming in from these two, because their win condition is going to be cancelling you and the Ana out, and then the pharmacy should be able to clean up the rest of this these team fights, and just ignore the Orisa for the most part. ML7's job obviously to survive Punk. Now this is going to end up bad, isn't it? Oh dear, that's unfortunate. It happens. Anyway, the big point I want to get across is that in Ashe's kit, we've got obviously just our standard damage to be able to deal with Pharah. Not to deal with it, but like this is our target focus is around Pharah. We're going to be denying a lot of that. Anytime Genji wants to engage on us, just dynamite him. That's going to really help your backline live, make your Kiri not have to get forced out, or Kiri and Ana not have their abilities forced out as much, because it's the damage over time mixed on top of whatever damage he's already gotten is just instantly going to force him to use his deflect and then cut LOS and reset and play passively. So you can get a lot of value for doing this. Otherwise, it goes on to ML. So these two are your Dynamite targets, to force some sort of peel from the Mercy, and then maybe isolate the Pharah, which again would be for you to clean up. Coach Gun's going to be a great tool to just literally knock yourself in an upwards direction from the ground, so that you're making a more level playing field between yourself and the Pharah. Likewise, to avoid any Doom engages / Genji cleanup. That is the extent of how you're going to play this. Because of their dive, I'm going to say to position closer to your team, closer to your Ursa, within peel of your Kiri. Your Kiri, for the most part, like your team comp, if just to give you some game sense, because or some macro, because a lot of DPS and particularly hit scan will be less of that. This matchup should function to some degree as your Orisa positioning more here, and then What I would have thought would be maybe like Ana here, and then Ashe slash it's tough because the sort of macro that I'm thinking here is that you and the Kiri have an opportunity to play on your own angle and live, and it gives Kiri the opportunity to be playing on an aggressive angle and then to swift step to peel for Ana if she needs it, while your Orisa is tied to objective, and then your Tracer is coming from her own angle at the back. But obviously rolling out into this high ground here is less than ideal, and playing down onto this staircase is sort of bottlenecking yourself into playing main and not having sight lines on these sort of flank routes slash really being able to deal with anyone utilizing this high ground. So the right call is to rotate high, I think. Again, it's up for debate. It's nothing that's set in stone as like right and wrong. I think this is the better call. I just think that the Kiri and you play together well. Otherwise, the Kiri is going to use the Tracer to initially roll out on, and then when the Tracer goes even deeper, then you guys look to go in off of that. I know, obviously, that's requiring a lot of cohesion that ranked just doesn't offer, but there is a little more synergy in these top 100 lobbies, just based off the compositions alone. Like, this team comp is quite a sound team comp in terms of ranked players playing to their strengths. Obviously, you could play a Tracer, would be way better, or a Sombra, or an Echo instead of Pharah. Obviously gets more value, and probably so does a Monkey rather than a Doomfist, but regardless, they're still synergizing. These quality players you're talking about, they're looking to synergize with each other, looking how can I enable my teammates, and Kiri should be looking to enable you, but in the same way, you taking off angles and looking for this damage and finding your own angle is exactly what this team comp is going to need. If you've got like Tracer up here, and then you're here, and then Orisa is playing objective, right? So, you know, keep an eye out for these sorts of things, but we'll take a look at the code. We'll get into this VOD, and we'll might skip past this bit. It happens. It happens. That's obviously an unfortunate thing that you can't really foresee, is the fact that they're going to roll out on something like Pharmacy. Because rolling out high obviously then makes that sightline a little difficult, purely because they got there first. But yeah. Okay. Okay, don't think we needed to drop there, but the fight seems like it's won for the most part. Looking for our shots. We're rotating, we're rotating, we're rotating. We're stagnating a little bit here. I'm not sure if we want to go in. Okay, so thinking about Dynamite usage. That's going to be a bad one in general, just forcing Doom. Why? Because it doesn't matter much for his health pool, and you're going to charge up his kinetic punch constantly by doing that. So, just a little red flag on the play early on, but we'll continue. And we could have got massive amounts of charge of from Dynamite damage by dynamiting this high ground, as our D.Va like attracted a lot of attention and a lot of people to be moving in. Genji's on us, we're getting dove, we're getting dove. I don't think we needed to panic so hard. Our Kiri has us covered, and that was a good sort of early assurance that the Kiri is switched on. She's making sure that you're okay on your off angle, because she knows they're playing dive, hopefully. Yeah, you absolutely could have taken this duel with this Genji and probably won if we had just stayed where we were, right? Like, this was a decent position. It's well covered from anyone else following up on what the Genji's doing, and the Genji's playing out of his LOS to take a duel with you here. And perhaps a bit, we can rewind a bit, but probably punished for using a Dynamite a second ago. Because remember I said at the start, Dynamite is going to be incredibly effective at forcing him out early. Because Genji's going to have these peaks, and these peaks are when he's got both dash, excuse my handwriting, dash plus deflect. And then when he doesn't, because he's either using this to engage or he's using it during the engage, then it goes down to like here, and then he's deflecting to get out, which is like this point, and then he's out is here, and then he's waiting for his cooldowns. When he has his cooldowns again, then he's going. You will increase how sharp this is. So when he's going in, if you're gonna, we use a pink line here, if you save Dynamite for him and he goes in and then you Dynamite him, it'll go like that. You'll be eliminating all of this part of the line, and it may even go like lower because in this space, sorry, that was bad. In this space, the difference in heights right now is the fact that he's going like further back to get support from his supports, and even they're dedicating resources to him now, which is resources not spent on your team or on their tank or something like that. And then, you know, he spends longer trying to get to his next peak again. So that's going really in depth into it. Obviously, it's a little less nuanced than that. I'm just trying to get the point across about how important it can be about identifying where your cooldowns are best spent, because dynamiting that Doom didn't do much, one, but then, you know, that'd be fine if then we got away with it. It's like, okay, you know, shouldn't be doing that, but it's whatever. But then we get instantly punished for it. Not to mention, the more noticeable thing was the fact that we were running away, is that now we're now in LOS of everyone. And I don't even think it's the Genji that kills you. You get helixed and then antied. Right, like, they just see an Ashe walking across in front of the open, who's already low. And then the Kiriko dies as well. So we turned what was a 2v1 in favor of us into like a 4v1 and then a 1v1 with the Genji. I think that's just a good play by the soldier. I don't know if there's much you could have done to not die to that, besides maybe just a little bit of situational awareness, or a little bit of spatial awareness. Just that we haven't seen the soldier, there hasn't been really a cue for him. He just hits a lot of his shots, and we're already weak, I think. Yeah, we're at 47. But again, we cut LOS of the Kiriko. I'm now seeing. No, she doesn't really look at us anyway, so I don't think she saves us, but just something I saw at the end there, is that we ran away from our supports. I know we weren't running to our supports, or like running to a health pack to heal that 50 HP, we were just rotating and assuming we were going to get healed, but just something I noticed. Good shots. Okay, Doom saw us just when we peaked before, so just be careful about this. Yep. That's a little thing you gotta keep in mind when playing against dive tanks. And if you're the dive target a lot of the time, You just have to be careful whenever you reveal your location that they're playing off it. We can watch it from his point of view. What is the F10?
Let's move forward.
He's like, okay, Ashe is up there. He's scouting a bit. I'm assuming he maybe even would have he either wants this space to do a dive from here, or he maybe would have looked to have like walked up here first, knowing that you were peeking this window and probably couldn't see him from that point of view. But then the D.Va was there, so he probably got stopped from doing that. Obviously not a great Doom because he's had massive airtime trying to close the distance to you, but regardless, that's the sort of things you got to be careful of. If you're going to peek and you're going to reveal your location, expect them to note it. Oh my god. Very nice support from Your Honor. And good by you to just back up and still hit your shots. Did you throw Dynamite on him just then? Was it a damage boost Dynamite? I think it's just a normal Dynamite. Coach gunned him away. Yeah, nice. Had our cooldowns available to us. Stayed in LOS of our supports. There you go. That looks good. Ooh, careful, careful, careful. Okay, you've traded at the moment. It's 1-1. Still a 4v4 at the moment. Yep, but yeah, okay. Yeah, careful giving up this high ground. I know you cleared out the Doom and it didn't seem like there was much you could do from here, but this space is by no means yours. And second is that you don't... I know I said you want to position close to your team at the moment, but that's at a level 5v5. The other threat is gone. It's just a Doomfist, and you're right next to your supports, and there's a mini. There's a lot of survivability in this thing. He has to use his cooldowns to get to you. This is a valuable high ground right now. There's no real power position that you need to be denying over on this side. Like, if Soldier wants to sit here out in the open, let him. Like, that's fine. Who is he really shooting? Like, your tank trying to contest? As long as your tank is keeping LOS of their supports, it shouldn't be a massive deal. If you really need to, then you use Coach Gun and you get across. Or you drop down to here and you have Coach Gun to get straight back up if you need to. Because this fight was by no means won. And Doom, although he's kited back to here, and he's just sitting here, I'll just put an X here. His effective range is his slam and punch. And it's his slam, which gets from A to B. And then his punch range from whatever point. So, sorry, I'll explain that better. So even if he's here, right, he uses one ability to get in, one ability to get out. If he has ult, he uses both to get in, and he uses ult to either go even deeper and commit, or as a second life and he gets out. In this case, he doesn't have ult, so let's just assume he punches in. He then has slam to get out just as far, or in just as far, right, from whatever point he finishes at, which makes his effective range essentially that, and even more so because the circle's a bit lopsided. So this space is by no means yours, especially when you don't have someone actively clearing it, like say like a Ram or a JQ or a Ryan or something like that, like an active presence here, even the Orisa you had at the start. Because D.Va is going to sit here, but then she's going to peel away for a bit. Or she's going to go and deny space for the Soldier that's sitting here. Which means you don't have an established front line. And as like a Ashe, who's like a less mobile hero than like say flankers or something like that, we're playing around our front line, essentially. We play a relative to it. This is by no means safe. Because if he just steps up a little bit and walks, again, he can punch in that far, or he can slam in that far and punch out. So I know you don't die to the Doom, but the point is that you did not need to leave this power position. This was still, the fight was still very much occurring somewhere where this position was relevant and still powerful, to the point that ML7 actually threw a nade at you, I think. Yeah, he missed it. It splashed on the wall behind you, but he threw a nade. Because he knows the Doom can still engage on that, right? Like, that's not removed from the fight. And so I just think this is too early. Sort of got baited into an engage, if you will. How are we doing for time? We're at 20 minutes. Keep it going here. I want to get through more film. Just have a look at this engage. You take a shot, you throw your dynamite, you get punished. Well, not punished. That was just like, I don't know. I think it's an aggressive peak, and so you sort of just needed to go off the fact that you knew they were beneath you and just throw a dynamite and shoot the dynamite. Like, just peek at hipfire, shoot the dynamite, run away. Because your team's not, like, you're not ready to go in. You're taking all of the attention right now with peeking this angle. It's an aggressive peek, is what I mean by that, is that you're taking all of their attention. And it's the reason it's very easy to then just chunk you, regardless of the fact that he hits a direct, which he does because he sees you and then you're lining up the dynamite because it takes too long. And then the Doom just goes and finishes you off. So a little bit of timing there, just missed on when you were going to peak that angle, because it was, and again, it's a power position still. It's a good angle to have on this next fight. We just went a little bit too early. Careful rotating, we're out in the open right now. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world throwing out Bob when you're, like, if you're not sure if they have sleep or not, but I do worry that we even needed it when you got a really good pick off the bat. Because let's talk a little bit about Bob. Bob in this scenario was what? Good to set up a crossfire on the point. Good to bait out resources like sleep / just them having to burn him to focus him down. And 3 to contest point when your tank needs the heat taken off them. That's a less applicable part of it. But with a Zaya, if she gets her bubbles forced out early, / if you need to contest it, like push mode in general, if you need to contest the point to give yourself some time, then that can be a good thing. And I think that is a bit more push niche. Now I'm thinking about it a little more. So I think there's better uses of it than just what you would have done. It's like, say it didn't get slept. Still there. Again, I do want to go through some more films, so I don't want to spend too long on this. Let's say it ends up here. It's not really doing any of those things. I don't know if it contests here. It might. I don't know if it contests here. I don't think, again, it got slept, so it doesn't bait out any resources. And it doesn't really set up the crossfire that you're wanting, right? Like the crossfire that you would want would be throwing it against like a wall like this, right? Or maybe throwing it against this thing so that they have to sort of deal with it, right? It's difficult for them not to deal with it, especially if they don't have sleep. Like, let's assume they don't have sleep. Like, they probably have to burn this Bob then, and that's a lot of space created for your team. The point sort of being that in terms of the crossfire that you create, you'd probably created something like this. But it's not really like when they're backing, the way that they're going to back out of this fight is probably this way, right? In which case it stays a frontline Bob, compared to maybe if we got Bob here or here, then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, do I have to actually like kite up this way, or like do I have to kite in here? But you've now got a Bob here. This space is a lot easier than if it was here, if that makes sense. Anyway, I don't want to spend too much time on Bob because it's not really like it's something wrong that we've seen with your gameplay. It's just something to think about in case you have had situations where you felt like you haven't known how to use it correctly. It's the first Bob that we've had, and it wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. Like, it found its value. I think it definitely would have been warranted if you hadn't killed the Brig, or as a way to kill the Brig even. Because you can use it as a solo kill ability to knock people up in the air with a dynamite or a headshot or whatever, or finish them off with when he runs over the top of them. But yeah, I think because she died, maybe just playing it a bit slow. Oh, we're so weak. Oh, she nutted us. And I wanna know why we didn't get. Was she just sort of tunneling? Oh, she's dealing with the. She did maybe see you. No, she didn't see you. I don't know. It's definitely not nano worthy. Nice dynamite. I'm not a huge fan of the rotation through the middle of the team fight. You are pretty tanky. Like, you're not gonna die. I think you could have coach gunned up onto the bus. I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with what you did. So. That's all I worry about though, is just like how in we are to get an angle on this. But just because like where the Genji was on the high ground before, it was hard for you to like go and take that high ground and not be threatened. But maybe that's a reason to clear it. I don't know. Sometimes it's not about what's right, like you did this wrong, you did this right. Sometimes it's like, hey, it's up for interpretation, like maybe consider this next time. Another just thrown out dynamite at the start of the team fight. It's a long cooldown too, so it is a bit of a tricky one to just say like, hey, I'll get it back, like I'll have it back by the time I need it again. We're a bit like almost like ants in our pants, and that we're not sitting still. We're like swinging really wide right now, even though we're very low, like, and then pressing W a bit there. We get whip shot. We throw another dynamite out. Again, it's on the Doom. Again, we're going to get killed by the Genji. So yeah, that's a couple deaths now that we're getting punished for throwing out our dynamite and not having it as a way to take a 1v1. And again, just sort of like very panicked, and it could be that like you felt like a lot of pressure and you didn't feel confident in taking 1v1s because you thought you were below the skill level of their DPS. I just think if you have your dynamite here, I don't think you should be pressing W again because I don't think this space is safe at all. Maybe a better play, judging on where your team is playing, is to coach gun yourself up here and play aggressively this way, as you're playing aggressively here. But unless you can live in your LOS of your supports here, then it's kind of split from your team when the Doom is taking all of your team's attention. So do we coach gun in the air? We just try and coach gun away, but it's a little bit too towards the ground and it gives us a predictable arc. And we try and run away that way. So... yeah, look, I think the best thing to do would have been... like, from this point, because at this point we're in, right? Like, you get whip shotted away as well. Funnily enough, like, that Briggs kind of... EQO is kind of throwing, if I'm being honest. Because whip shotting you is, at the start is just so bad, because you could just be so punished right now. But I think if you just get knocked back here... just trying to keep LOS of your supports, because your supports, like, they are seeing you, I think. Maybe the Ana isn't at this point, but I think the carry is. But we keep going out into the open, and then it's too much damage to out heal. We just hit 30 minutes, but I wanna get through a little bit more. Might get through the whole game, depending on how long it takes. Purely because it's a quite a quality lobby, and it's good to take advantage of these opportunities. Again, Dynamite. I know that they don't have a Genji now, but it's just a bit like we don't have a lot of information here, and even more so, there's not the sort of connection going off in our mind right now. Like, I'm dynamiting a Zara and a Kiri. Is it going to force out cleanse? Probably not. The Ana's probably just going to heal the Kiri up if it hits her, or Xayah will just use one bubble to stop her burning on herself, or she'll just tank it and the supports get charged. Like, I get we might be trying to build Bob because we feel like we need Bob right now, but if we can't win with a Grav and a Kiri ult, we probably don't deserve to win, or it's because they've invested like just as much, in which case we're fine going into the next fight with Nano, Bob and Noon. You know, so I don't think it's crazy. And then if the Ana dies right here, it's like, okay, I try and build Bob by the end of this fight, but this fight's probably lost. Like, that's a huge opening pick. Again, not again. I don't know if I'd be dueling this this Widow. Perhaps a better application of Dynamite is throwing it onto the Widow to make her pressured into hitting shots, or just weak enough to get spammed out by Xayah, or Cass to get a shot off, or Kiri to get a headshot on, you know. But like right now would be a great opportunity to throw a Dynamite in on the supports, the squishies, right? Like, we were about to die before the Widow even killed us because of the soldier. So we're a little what's the word? Blasé, or a little bit like undervaluing Dynamite. We're just sort of throwing it out for damage reasons and not really any other application of it. So yeah, just be aware of that, be careful of that. I think just in general this was a bad position to play in. You know, I know the Widow was back there, but maybe you coach gun yourself up here, and then being able to use this wall, being able to use the wall to control who you're shooting at is always important. Always important. DPS fundamental. A really big sniper fundamental, like a really big DPS fundamental, but even a bigger for snipers, and I'll include Ashe in that, like Ashe, Hanzo, Widow, is don't let anyone who you're not shooting at shoot at you. Has to be an equal trade of pressure or damage going out. If you're getting shot by them, you need to be shooting them. We have a Mercy pocket, so... well, not a pocket, but we have a Mercy on our team now, so we can be looking to play more aggressively. Our Ana's going to get picked again, so we need to look for a trade. Kiri's going to get us. That's what it is. Man, this has been a back and forth game. They were dominating at the start, and then you guys just spent a couple fights rolling them. Oh, I missed that death. Oops, I went back too far. Very nice shot. Unlucky on the ult, but you know, they went early. They used 3 ults. Do we get the bob on the contest here? Nice. I think this is worth the death. I think this is an okay death. And using the criteria before, what did that bob accomplish? 1, bought time for your team. 2, probably forced out a lot of cooldowns because they didn't sleep it. Or did they? Maybe they slept it, or maybe they didn't bother sleeping it because they knew they had to deal with it. That's probably what happened. Yeah, he's just holding sleep because he knows they have to burn it. But again, buys time for your team and sets up a crossfire. Like, this Zarya is actually being pressured out quite a lot by this bob. She's like, shit, kill it, kill it, kill it. And to the point where she burned a bubble, and then she's kiting back, and your Zarya's in trouble, but is sort of winning the tank trade at the moment. Now is not, because she's hacked and she's getting focused. And she's getting solo grabbed. Anyway. We get rezzed. Which is... I wasn't aware of, that's why I wasn't watching. I want to say right now is a really good opportunity to go make a play. I think something needs to change. I think the pressure that they're putting on your Zar with the hack and stuff, something needs to change. This is a team fight that seems like you need to go make a play on this Kiri, or you need to go make a play on their Ana. And being able to, even if it was here, being able to throw a Dynamite on this backline to force some sort of split in attention when you know the Sombra is over, or you may not know it. Like you may not know it, but hopefully your team is comming that sort of stuff. I think you need to go make a play. I think this fight is lost unless someone goes and makes a play. You keep her up through the grab. That's huge. That was a huge play by your Ana, if I'm being honest. Another Dynamite going on to like people who can quite easily deal with it. That was a nice shot on the Ana. And imagine if she was burning. She may not even peak that angle, which is value in itself, because that's healing she's not giving to the Zarya. But also maybe that headshot kills her, and that's a huge deal. But I think my point stands because I don't think we necessarily, besides the headshot on the Ana, she died last anyway. I don't think that headshot on the Ana really changed a lot. I don't know how much impact. Oh, maybe in the time. She takes the headshot. Shows you. No, so he's ML7 thinks he's still just playing as aggressively. So I don't think you particularly had an impact on this fight. So even more so, it's like, well, why not? Why not go try and make a play, right? I mean, even right now it would be like even better, right? Because ML's a little like out in the open, and he's pretty good at not. I mean, that's actually quite. Maybe it's just because he knows the fight's lost anyway, and he's just like hitting his shots and charging his ult. But that was actually quite un-ML7 like, that positioning out in the open like that, and staying scoped in for so long. Not that good Ana play. But you have a little faith in players like him that they're doing everything for a reason. I don't mind that Dynamite that forced him out, especially if it did hit like the micros, whatever. You're trying to force it back. Would have been nice to get a Dynamite on that grab, but we pretty much killed everyone in it anyway. There's a nice Dynamite. I like that. Keep looking for the Ana. Keep looking for the Ana. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Nice. Another one, yep. Another dynamite. Not from the same angle, from the, yep. Nice. Yeah, this fight was good. This fight was really good. Talking about what we have gone through in terms of cooldown usage, or like dynamite usage, that fight was a lot cleaner. We didn't just throw it out when we saw the Zaya. We used it to force out the soldier. Then we played this high ground. We didn't like drop too early or like play in positions that weren't earned or anything like that. We had good target focus, and then we had good cooldown usage again with the dynamite. I really like this fight, and this may be more accurate to what you're normally playing like. Maybe you've settled in a bit into this lobby, you've adjusted a little, but that fight was very good. If you could replicate what you did in that fight a lot of the time, then this whole VOD would be a lot cleaner. So the dynamite, I don't mind it. It's now I wouldn't want you to have another dynamite like that. The first one was like clearing him out, whatever. It didn't hit though because soldier's quite fast and you reacted quite late, like you didn't do it quick enough. That again had a hint of like, he'll probably run away from that even if you do throw it, but you try it, it doesn't work. Now learn, take in what you've learned from the 2 times you tried to dynamite the soldier in the past minute, and do it earlier, or don't do it. Another nano. That's crazy that they used a nano in this fight. Oh, we used Bob. I guess it stalls out point. I don't think that's a good Bob. Oh, they're further. My mistake. My mistake. I thought you guys were slightly ahead of them. Okay, so this is final fight. That makes sense. Okay, so final fight. So it comes down to this. So I know I've gone a little over half an hour. But I am invested at this point. It seems like this is a pretty unwinnable fight just purely off ult economy. We didn't have Bob. Okay. A bit of panic again. We're in this spot a lot, but we don't like staying here. And I just think you're not really in any danger of just hugging this wall until the cart moves around the corner and your Kiriko can see you. Is that a Kiriko? It's a Brig even. So even better, she just gets a pack and throws it to you. Might be a case of just turning around and looking and see where your supports are playing every now and then, rather than assuming. The thing I'm thinking is they won this fight because of this high ground. So I'm looking at, firstly I was thinking it's crazy because it's very split from your team. It's sort of a big play. I'm thinking maybe that's something that you should have thought about though, going into this fight, knowing you're at an ult disadvantage, and you need to go make a play like this, but it could also just be feeding and then you instantly die because it's so split. Pardon me. And they have a faster comp, or like they have like a Sombra and stuff, so like that is a bit feedy, but that's why I didn't suggest it. But I'm thinking what I said earlier about coach gunning up here and brawling for this spot a little, and the fact that if we didn't throw dynamite before, and if we had coach gun here to then have also dynamite available to really win this space, then maybe this becomes winnable. And I think your soldier is recognizing that a little better because he's trying to like really push wide, use this building to control LOS and shoot people who want to sit here. He's putting pressure on this spot, on anyone who wants to play here. I don't think it's as much because he doesn't. This spot isn't a power position that they need to force him out of. He's using it to force them off theirs. / set up a crossfire, but. And I think now, like, it is a bit hindsight, but looking at this fight and really breaking it down, perhaps looking for the bulk dynamites in this scenario rather than using it to take a 1v1 and like coach cutting up here and then throwing it is the way to get it because we need ult percentage. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I think it was a pretty unlikely scenario anyway. But yeah. But that seems like the end of the VOD. I went up to about 45 minutes. So a little bit longer than I thought, but it is a really high quality match and you get only so many of those. In today's day and age, without the Overwatch League replay viewer, it's good to get a high quality code. But yeah, so I think the main points to take away are think about your CD usage in terms of matchups that you need to take and duties that you need to fulfill for your team. And a little bit of situational awareness in regards to where you can and can't walk. Not where and when you can't walk, but let's say positional awareness in regards to your team and theirs, in terms of who can go on you, in terms of like the Doom and the Genji that were going on you quite a bit and punishing you for being overextended, / do I need to run away right now? Like, do I need to be playing really passively, or can I just sit and be in LOS of my supports and like take the 1v1, like the Genji on the bus stop a couple times? And other than that, I think those are the main two things. I think the Dynamite usage specifically, and then we also talked a little bit about Bob and ways to use him. So I hope you found this information helpful. If you have any questions about it, just send me a message. I'd be more than happy to respond. And yeah, hopefully next time you find yourself in one of these games, you can turn it into a W and gain a little more confidence from this. So yeah.